Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we're looking at another product from the Murphy's Magic sale, and that is AdSense. This is a very interesting product that came out a few years ago and one that often goes on sale. So because of that, as with all the other products in these past few videos, I'm making this because if ever it goes on sale and you catch it, maybe you should decide to purchase this finally if it was on your radar, because it is a very interesting and fun effect with a few drawbacks. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about AdSense. So what is AdSense? AdSense is essentially an effect where a spectator is going to place objects on the table on certain cards, and after that, you show that they place the correct object on every single card by using their intuition or by pure luck, whatever the performance angle you want to take. So I think the best way for me to explain that is to do a performance for you. So we're just going to remove this here. We're not going to show the instructions. We're just going to do that. We're going to place this to the side. We'll come back to it. But yeah, you would remove this from your pocket and you would show that you have a pack with the most influential brands. You have around 20 or so cards here. So you would remove them from the packaging. You can place this to the side and you would show the spectator that there's different things here. There's things like AirPods, there's things like watches, like Timex, there's Visa. There's essentially a bunch of things like Remax, like house keys. There's a bunch of different brands and objects that you have here. And what you're gonna try and do is something interesting. You're gonna try and test their intuition. So if I may ask, do you have some money with you? And let's say the spectator says yes. So you would ask them to take out their money. Since I don't have a spectator, I'm gonna give it. Just like that. So you're gonna say, perfect. So what we're gonna do is I'll place 4 cards right here on the table. And what I'm gonna have you do is I'm just gonna have you take the money and place it on any one of these cards. Let's say they place it on this one. So you say, okay. So not this, this, or this, but you want it exactly on this one right here. So we're gonna leave it straight in front of you like that. So we're gonna do it again. This time, let's say, do you have any glasses with you? So let's say they say yes. So you can say, perfect. Can you just remove your glasses and place them on any one of these cards that you want? So let's say they go for this one. So you're gonna say, perfect. So the glasses right there, and you didn't choose this one, or this one, correct? Perfect. And now you're left with just a few. So you're gonna say, we're gonna do it one last time. And this time, do you have like a pen with you? Let's say they say they don't. So you say, oh, you don't have a pen? That's perfect. Then I'll give you here my pen. I'm gonna give you here a Sharpie, and I'm gonna have you place it on any one of these. So let's say they go for this one. So you say, okay. So you had a bunch of free choices here, and you could have selected any of these. You could have went for an iPhone, right? You could have went for an iPhone. You could have went for a wallet. You could have went for example here, I don't know, for the watch, right? You had different choices, but you ended up on these, and you had a free choice to place these objects on all of these cards in the order that you wanted, correct? And you had chosen, I asked you if you had some money, and you placed the money on the money card. You then had glasses with you, right? And you placed the glasses on the glasses. And then you had a choice at the end to place a pen. You didn't have a pen, but I had one with me. So you had a chance to place the pen on any card on the table, and you placed it on the Sharpie. So you got all of the choices 100% correct. So that is a quick performance of AdSense. So I think you understand what the effect is now that you've seen it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and a fun one at that as well if you think about it. So as well as doing that, I think I've also shown you how fast this resets. So now I'm fully reset to go to my next table, okay? So now I just put this in my pocket and I'm good to go. So having said all of that, where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So you can buy this pretty much anywhere. It's distributed at all Murphy's retailers. You can find it, and as I mentioned, it is often in the Murphy's sales at numerous magic shops. Keep an eye out for it if you're interested in it. it will set you back at full price $34.99 US, and on sale it is usually for around 18 to 19 US. So you can really get this on the cheaper end, which I think is worth it for how fun the effect is. Now, keep in mind, on camera, some of the moves, you're gonna be like, oh, really? Like that's the method, or oh, that's obvious, but that's camera magic, and that's because, you know, you can really fool the camera in those instances, but in person, trust me, it's gonna fly by your spectator. But having said that, this is what you get. You get this nice little box which opens up like this, okay? More so like this. And inside of here, you're gonna get your pack here of cards. This is a nice, the packaging on this is great. So this is what you carry around with you to perform. And it really looks like something you could buy. It looks professional, and it has like this tab here where you can just place it like this and just carry this around with you. It really looks like what it says it is. Then you also get some additional cards here. Let me show them to you. If you, let me make sure that I don't show the instructions, but you also get some extra cards for example, if you are in the US, you can use these Denny's cards. If you're someone that smokes, you get the option to use cigarettes, a Zippo lighter, and if you want to use a ring, you could have maybe Tiffany's there, all right, or some piece of jewelry. But because I don't want to ask spectators for the rings or for the expensive pieces of jewelry, and because I don't smoke and don't perform a lot in environments with people that smoke, and because I don't live in the US, I decided to remove these cards, but they are provided to you as extras to interchange with the cards that you have here. So you can change it up between performances if you want the objects. Then you also get an extra card, this card here, for some additional ideas and routines that you can do. So if you know some other routines, or he gives you some of the tutorial, you can use this card to accomplish that. And then you also get this card here, which has the instructions on them, and the instructions are provided to you by Javier in the Murphy studio. And there's live performances, well shot. He explains to you everything that you need to know. There's a bunch of routines provided to you with explanations for you to get the most out of your purchase. So, having said all of that, how easy is this to perform? Super easy. I mean, there's not really any sleight. I mean, for those that kind of saw what happened at the end, you can't really call that a sleight of hand move. It's just while you're talking to the spectator, you're just picking them up. But of course on the camera it doesn't look as clean. But there's really no sleight of hand move going on here. I mean, there's some routines in the project that he gives you some ideas with some sleight of hand to make it maybe a bit easier, a bit more deceptive or whatnot. But the routine in itself is very simple. I mean, it doesn't require much in order of sleight of hand to do. So I would say it is pretty easy. However, I would like to say that if you don't have really good eyesight, it could be a bit harder to perform the routine. And that's all I'm going to mention, is that I do think they say this in the ad copy, that these are marked, and the markings on them are incredibly deceptive. But I think that in dimmer lighting, or if you don't have really good eyesight, it's going to be a bit harder to see what you have to see on the cards. So that's all I want to say. So keep that in mind. Regarding now practicality, if you want to perform this, what do you have to carry around with you? And I think that this is the biggest kind of problem, but not really a problem that I found, but it is still something that is a bit annoying, is that for this, you're going to have to carry around these cards as well. Okay, so you're going to have to carry around these cards with you. And without spoiling too much of the method and how this works, the choices of the spectator are 100% free, which means that the objects they land on are never going to be the same. There's no force going on here, which means that a lot of the time you're going to ask a spectator, oh, do you have this? And maybe they're going to say no, which means that you're going to have that object on you, because if not, the trick won't work. And what I mean by that is, for example, let's say the pen. Not a lot of people carry pens. I don't know anyone that carry a pen with them. Or I haven't met many people. Especially if you go to a wedding or whatever, Not many people carry pens. Yes, you're going to probably have your Sharpie, but let's say you want to perform this and you forgot to bring your Sharpie. And you ask them, do you have a pen? And they say no. And they say, okay, let me give you mine. And you don't find a pen. You are screwed. Okay? The routine isn't going to work. Okay? It's not going to work. You could maybe think on your feet and maybe have them put an image of a pen on their phone in front of it, right? You could do that, but you need objects with you, which means that if you're not confident that some of these objects people are going to have with them, you're going to need to bring those with you. So keep that in mind. And I think that that's the biggest obstacle that I found with this, is that a lot of times when I went to perform this kind of impromptu and I tried, a lot of the times at one point I had to provide all three of the items for the effect to work. And it lessened, I think, in my opinion, the strength of the effect. Not by much, but I think it lessened a bit of it. So if you perform this, you're going to have to carry around the cards and make sure that you have most of these items on you. Personally, I carry around almost all of the items, but not all. So sometimes if I want to perform this, I have to carry a few things extra with me in case my spectator doesn't have them. So keep that in mind. Having said that, angle-wise, pretty much can be done 360. There's no issue regarding that. Inspectability, it can be inspected. I don't see why not. They're not going to, maybe some, if spectators are to examine it, maybe some that are a bit more keen and paid a bit more attention are going to find some things that they're going to think about and be like, oh, I understand. But not really like that. There's nothing special about these. They could, as you mentioned, you show them at the start pretty freely. There's no issue regarding inspectability. Regarding reset, I reset it in front of you at the start. Took like 5 seconds. And lastly, regarding the outcomes, it is not a force, which means that if you perform this from table to table to table to table to table, the outcome is going to be different almost every single time. Okay, so keep that in mind. So having said that, where do you perform this? So this can be performed, I think it could work really well in parlor or cabaret and close-up. If you do this close-up, you still need table space. So if you perform this close-up, you're going to need table space because as you saw, you're going to put the cards on the table and they're going to place the items on the cards. So if you're doing this at a crowded wedding table, it's not really going to work well because you're going to have like this much space. So you're not really going to be able to do the effect to its best impact. So if you do this, you're going to need table space. Okay, so you're going to need space to place the cards, place the objects, and discard the other cards. So you're going to have to manage all of that. Okay, so you're going to need table space, which means that yes, it can be done close up, restaurant, weddings, etc. But you're going to need table space. So wherever you want to perform this, whether it's parlor, stage, etc., you're going to need table space. But I think this works really well. I would see myself doing this, for example, at a bar or at a gathering with friends or at an impromptu thing. That's where I would see myself doing this effect. I wouldn't necessarily see myself doing this at a gala or like something where I know the tables are going to be packed with stuff. It's not something that I would have people clear the table in order to do. But I think in the right scenario, I think this can work well in most performing environments. Having said that, let's get into the positives and negatives of AdSense. So first of all, what are the negatives of AdSense? Well, one of the negatives is what I mentioned, is the fact that you are going to need to be prepared for your spectators to not have all of the items that are required to achieve this with them, which means that you need to have them with you. Okay, so that's important regarding that. And that I think is the biggest negative that you have to understand. And the second one is that this uses kind of a hefty amount of table space, which means that in certain cases you won't be able to present the effect. Having said that, what are the positives? So the positives of this is that it's super easy to do. The amount of time they spent into making this look as legit as possible is insane. This looks like what it's supposed to. Every single card looks like what it's supposed to. It really looks like you bought this from an airport or you got gifted this at a gala or anything like that. It really does look professional. It's easy also to carry around with you. It packs small. The routine is fun. It's engaging with the spectator because you use so many items. The choices are free. You can do this without having the same results at every table. It's easy to do. and it's a good topic of conversation. And it's also nice that it's not a typical card effect or coin effect or anything like that. It uses things that aren't really things that people don't usually see magicians do magic with, which is really nice as well. So having said all of that, what would I rate it out of 10, and would I recommend this to you? So would I recommend AdSense to you? I think yes. I think that if you see this on sale, I think buy it. I think that even though you're not going to perform it all the time, I think just having this with you can kill at the right time. I think it's so fun, and I think it's going to connect your audiences, whether it's younger kids, whether it's teens, no matter your audience. I think everyone is going to enjoy about this. It's something that's going to speak to a lot of people, and I think it's just a fun thing to have that's not a card trick. Even though it uses cards, it's not a card trick, and I think it's just going to be, it's fun for presentation wise, and I really do think that on sale this is worth it. And if you're really in love with what you saw or heard from my review, I think even at full price, for the amount of work that went into the instructions and making these look so incredibly good, I think you wouldn't be disappointed with the product. So having said that, what would I rate it out of 10? I would give this an 8 on 10, because I'm sure that I'm going to carry this with me at some point at gigs, and I'm going to perform it. It just, similar to some other products that I've reviewed, I'm not sure how often I'm going to be able to perform this, but I am going to try to perform it at several occasions, because I do think this has its place, and I think it's good. So an 8 on 10 for me, a really good little product. So having said that, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. If you have a comment, of course, leave it down below. If not, I'll see you in my next one. Have a good one, and bye.